You know those stories about karma, how people do bad things, and then horrible stuff happens to them as a result. Baloney. I don't believe it for a second. Why? Because I try my hardest to be a good person, and yet I'm still riddled with bad luck. Take one day from my freshman year, for example. My alarm didn't go off, so I overslept and was late for school. As I pedaled frantically on my bike, my backpack unzipped itself, sending all my books and papers flying out. I had to stop and pick them up, and when I finally gathered everything, I tried to get back on my bike, only to realize my skirt was stuck in the chain. I tried to wrench it loose, but ended up ripping it. At that point, I was closer to school than home, so I decided to just change into my gym shorts when I arrived. I got back on my bike and pedaled as hard as I could. I was already so late. Then, all of a sudden, I felt a bump, heard a popping noise, and my back tire started sinking. No. Anything but this. I had run over a nail and gotten a flat tire. Dejected, I walked my bike all the way to school. By the time I arrived, I was beyond annoyed. I grabbed a tardy slip from the office, quickly changed into my gym shorts in the locker room, and made it to my first period class, almost missing it entirely. Could this day get any worse? Evidently, it could. I had a big assignment due for second period, something I had worked on all weekend. But when I went to grab it from my backpack, it was missing. I must have left it behind when my backpack exploded on the ride over. What did I do to deserve this? I felt like I might cry, but since that wouldn't solve my problem, and would only serve to embarrass me, I held back the tears. Instead, I went to my teacher and explained the situation. I'm afraid I'll have to dock points for tardiness, she said. Yes, ma'am, I mumbled as I trudged back to my desk. The rest of the class passed by in slow motion, and I sighed in relief when it was finally over. As I headed back to my locker, I heard some girls whispering behind me. Wow, what a fashion statement. Think those shorts were on sale at Walmart? Do you think she'll be trying out for next top model? They giggled and walked past me. My face burned with embarrassment. I knew my outfit was a disaster, but it was completely out of my control. Just then, a girl from my class, Becca, stopped beside me and put a hand on my shoulder. Hey, don't listen to them, Leah. Personally, I like the outfit. It's pretty bold to pair red athletic shorts with a lime green blouse, she joked with a wink. Thanks, but it wasn't intentional. My skirt got ripped on the bike ride to school. Oh, why didn't you say so? I always have a sewing kit on hand. Give it to me, and I'll have it back to you by lunch. Thanks, Becca. Don't mention it. I had to admit, the good thing about having rotten luck is that you find out who the nicest people are. I smiled to myself and managed to make it to lunchtime. I didn't see Becca in the cafeteria, so I grabbed a bite and saved a spot for her. As I walked to an empty table, I slipped on a banana peel. I wasn't even aware people could actually do that. I thought it was only in cartoons. I fell down, my food spilling all over my shirt. Great. Not only was I publicly humiliated, but even if I got my skirt back, my blouse was still ruined. You okay? Becca appeared, helping me up as we sat down together. Here's your skirt. I tried to fix it up as best as I could. The stitching on the rip is slightly visible, but I tried to hide it as much as possible. I really appreciate it. Not a problem. I needed something to do in study hall anyway. I sighed, and Becca looked at me with sympathy. Tough day, huh? I pointed to my ruined blouse. Well, at this point, it really couldn't get any worse. But this is just par for the course for me. What do you mean? Oh, I've always just had bad luck. You'd better watch out, it might be contagious. You don't really believe that, do you? I shrugged and put my head on the table. I stayed quiet for a while, then Becca nudged my arm. I saw you dropped your lunch. Would you like some of mine? My stomach growled in response. Becca and I locked eyes and started to giggle. We finished eating just as the bell rang. Surprisingly, I was feeling a little better after that. Maybe this day was salvageable after all. The rest of the afternoon passed by without anything major happening. I did get hit in the face during dodgeball, but that wasn't necessarily bad luck. I just lacked any coordination or athleticism. When school was over, I gathered my things, ready to head out, when I remembered I had to walk my bike all the way back home. Oh well, at least the day was almost over. I trudged to the bike rack and fumbled with the lock when suddenly, I heard a car honk behind me. Leah, do you need a ride? I do. You're a lifesaver. Put your bike in the trunk and let's go, then. Man, am I lucky to have a friend like you. Becca laughed. Well, I guess there's the answer to your question. What? You were afraid you were cursed with bad luck, right? But you just said you're lucky to have me as a friend. So that proves it isn't true. I paused, thinking about my day. Hey. I guess you're right. Of course I am. Now hurry up, maybe we can get some ice cream before I drop you off. I happily jumped into the passenger seat, and off we drove. And that was how my worst day came to a close. That was just one example of a typical day in my life. You would think that incident would have been the worst of my misadventures, but no. When senior year finally came around, I was all set to graduate. But on the day of the ceremony, my cap and gown got misplaced. I had to be the only one who walked up on stage without them. On top of that, one of my heels broke as I walked down the stairs, though thankfully, I caught myself on the railing. Years of bad luck had prepared me for such occasions. When I got back to my seat, I looked down at my diploma and bit back a curse when I realized they had spelled my name wrong. The whole ceremony had been a bust, but I was still looking forward to my graduation party afterward. Unfortunately, a thunderstorm came out of nowhere, forcing us to move indoors, where we had to share space with a retirement party. Then, the catering service called. They couldn't deliver our food due to the bad weather. Just when I thought it couldn't get worse, the power went out. But as we sat in the dark, someone from the retirement party found a bunch of candles, and the two groups joined together. We played Mafia, told scary stories, and waited out the storm. It wasn't what I expected, but in the end, it was kind of fun. I kept that positive mindset as I started college. But about halfway through my first semester, my bad luck returned. One cold morning, I grabbed coffee before class, only to trip and spill it all over myself, and a cute guy named Sammy. He helped me with my injured ankle and, in the end, asked for my number. As I sat in my dorm, waiting for his text, I realized something. Becca had been right all those years ago. I wasn't cursed with bad luck, I was blessed by it. My phone chimed. It was a message from Sammy. "How are you feeling?" I hesitated before replying. "Pretty lucky,"